What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the third episode of the second season of the Plunder, where we do nothing but focus on your Buccaneers, baby. What I'm talking about. How you
Hey,
doing, brother?
let me just say something, bro. I got a jar of dirt.
Yeah,
Bro, I
yeah.
still love that part. I don't give a damn, bro. I listen to that song 1,000 times, bro. I listen to our intro 1,000 times just to catch. I got a jar of dirt.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Oh man, we've got a lot going on this week. We're actually live. We're live. So when you chat on the video, we will chat back. So check it out. This week is a really fun week. Moving forward, last season we mainly focused on a lot of football content as it pertains to on the field, as well as in the front office when you're considering contracts and negotiations and free agents and all this stuff. This year, what we're going to do is expand because what we're focused on here, the Plunder, is Buck Nation. And Buck Nation just doesn't happen for that 60 minutes on the field. It pertains to everything. These guys live this life every day. As a matter of fact, this is so much serious a life thing that lifer Buccaneer William Golston, after he signed his contract, inked a permanent tattoo of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on his body. So this is a real ass thing, people, ladies and gentlemen. But I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. And when you watch it, if you watch it when it's not live, I want to thank you for your support. Please like and share in all the groups. And be mindful that later tonight, I will be posting the information that we're going to need, or you're going to need, excuse me, on how to access and be a part of the Plunder's inaugural fantasy football league. It'll probably come about 30 minutes after the show, so be on the lookout for that. Let's go today.
Ooh,
So tell me about your weekend, brother. How's the baby going?
man, it's coming along. I'm getting 30 weeks, bro, which means I got like 10 weeks to go. It's crunch time.
At about 125 degrees in the oven right now. You need about another 30 to 40 degrees. Okay, okay.
Shit, bro, it's like 125 degrees outside, much less in the oven.
Dude, it's fucking ridiculous. Oh my God, this up here in the Panhandle is very similar, very, very similar to the Tampa area. The only difference is you guys get a lot more winds, and I'm not talking to your standard winds. I'm talking to your bigger winds because you've got both coasts down there. Even though the Atlantic coast is a little further away, you still have two humongous bodies of water that produce massive, storms and winds, that come off the body of water onto land from both sides. So y'all get a little bit more wind, but brother, let me tell you what, that humidity is the same around her. It just don't get blown around as much.
Man,
And we don't,
it don't matter. It don't matter where you're at. Hot
you
is
know,
hot.
yeah, it's freaking hot. We don't have trees up in our Panhandle because Hurricane Michael abolished listen to this, fun fact of the day, $8 billion in agriculture was destroyed by Hurricane Michael in the Panhandle in South Georgia, South Carolina, and Tennessee. By the time it hit South Georgia, the hurricane was still a Category 3, which is predominantly unheard of. So when you've got $8 billion of agricultural loss, I'll tell you that's probably the reason that the bug companies in the area have increased 35%. And the loggers have become unemployed at an astronomical rate up here. Like a lot of them have moved to different areas because of the problem.
I was
So
gonna say, man, shit around here, they're just tearing down the trees they got to put up housing and shit because there's just too many damn people around here.
well, they were doing that, but here, like when I'm talking about the agricultural loss, like when you think of a storm on the coast, right? You think maybe 15 to 20 miles in, there's severe to moderate damage, and then it starts dwindling down. Bro,
Yeah,
there were trees when I was coming back. I actually left. I stayed in Birmingham. I was coming back 2 days after the storm when they finally allowed people to come. No, they hadn't allowed people to come in. I actually left the day before they started allowing people back in the area. They had
oof,
state patrol on the state line from like Pensacola or from like Fort Walton area, north of Fort Walton area, to like north of Tallahassee.
yeah.
They wouldn't let the state on that until they actually did it. But nonetheless, like $8 billion in trees and stuff. Can you imagine That's just horrible, bro. So, like, when it comes to heat, bugs, the bug crisis up here is bad because the bugs, if you don't know, bugs, a lot of your bugs and insects and that you see in your homes, they stay in trees. They live in the brush, in the bushes. When that stuff's gone, and bro, in Tallahassee, 5 minutes from exit 200, which is 5 minutes from Tallahassee, you've got trees that were laid horizontal, bro, for like 5 miles. It was so crazy. So crazy.
Damn.
Yeah. So, anyways, we got a fun show today. What we're going to talk about is a few. We're going to actually talk about a player. We're going to talk about some off the field stuff. Actually, you know what? We've got a conversation about a player, but everything else we're going to talk about is off the field per se. So why don't we get started? Something that was really cool that the Buccaneers did this year. It was inaugural, and from my understanding, they were the first team to actually put it forth. The Buccaneers had a National Coaching Academy during their OTAs and stuff, and rookie.
Okay.
And when I saw that, I originally saw the advertisement for it, and I was like, oh, wow. Like, if life wasn't lifing me right now, what I wouldn't do just to fill it out. I didn't even fill it out. But I bet your bottom dollar I'm going to fill it out next year. I don't have much professional experience, but I know the game and I'm familiar with it. I know knowledge of football, and I would love to. I mean, it's a second chance at people that are so involved in this game and love this game and have the knowledge of this game to actually be a part of it. You screwed up or you didn't meet the physical standards to be a pro athlete. This is a way to get back into that world and still fulfill your destiny in some sort of way.
Well, and I mean, it honestly doesn't even got to be sports in order to go through something like that, man. I mean, it doesn't matter. Even if hell, bro, if you're a manager at your job, in a way, you're a coach, assistant coach, and
Coach little league and middle school age, but at the same time, no professionalism. But the point is, like, they're doing this, and the typical route is go to school, make good grades, go to college, and either you're an athlete, right, that helped you get to college, or you from a young age really dove into the ideology of coaching and leading people, because that's what a coach is, a leader. A leader of men is what these NFL coaches are. And let me say that by saying this: they're not all men. Two of the finalists, if I'm not mistaken, I'll have their names here in a little bit. Two of the finalists were actually women. Two of the winners, I guess you could say. They had a ton of people enter. They had a whole array of people come to training camp and OTAs and participate and really put forth the work. And when I tell you that after reading, I went through the list, doing my research for this story for the show, this topic for the show. I watched every video that they put out. I watched every video, dude. I tried to listen and pay attention to, like, who was saying what. If there was new people, talking, I tried to figure out who they were, and listen to what they were saying and the knowledge. Bro, they took 5 people. Ended up 5 people. I think it was, I can't remember the number. I'll try to find the number. But they had 5 people left over out of all that are actually going to join the Bucs squad. All right?
No shit.
Yeah.
I think I had heard, I think I had heard some about it on the news the other night, but
it's actually on the news, yeah.
I think I just doing everything, before bed shit, I think I may have missed it, but or like didn't pay full attention.
Yeah. Well, it came out in March or April. I seen the original post. I mean, I was literally probably like minutes or hours after the post come out, and I was reading about it. I was like, holy shit. Well, I got busy in life and just didn't constantly think about it. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I seen the thing of it. I'm like, okay, I want to wait until these guys actually get through with this, and I want to go back, and then I want to make that a part of the show, because this is really cool, number one. But Buck Nation needs to be aware of everything Buck. So that's part of the reason why we're bringing some of these topics here tonight, and going to continue to bring these type of topics every week. It's not just about on the field. We want to introduce you to the guys. We're going to try to, every week or so, we're going to take a player, and we're going to really romance this guy's personal life and try to figure out who he is. And we're going to introduce him to you guys, not to mention the, the on the field stuff and the contract stuff. But let me go over this. They called them fellows, right? FELLWOOW. Like,
okay.
So they were a training camp fellows. Earl Chambers is going to be helping coach the defense, right? He's actually from America. And I don't know they're Americans or that's where they live, but he was from America. Now this next one, actually, you know what? I'm gonna hold this one because I've got some information on that one. I mean, this is really interesting stories. I read a couple of stories, a few pieces of the stories of some of the people that actually, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, won the competition. But it's Kirsten Schwartzer. She is actually an American female who is actually going to help assist in some form. It doesn't give any details on the offense. Okay.
Okay.
Now the next person is a gentleman from America named Cody Cruzen. Curzen. He's actually a training camp fellow. He's going to be helping on the defensive side. And then you also have a Jeremy Patters, who is actually American, and he's going to be helping on the special teams. Now, the fifth and final person is interesting to me because it was one of the first individuals that I actually saw some information on personally. She is from Brazil, okay? She's a quarterback.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, she's on the Brazilian national team, who is going to I didn't catch the dates, didn't memorize them at all, but here soon they're actually having a world tournament, on flag football, and she's got
I'd seen that.
Yeah, she's got to participate. I think it's in the next couple of weeks, next month or something like that. But she's actually on the offense. And look, bro, she split duties, coach, player over there.
No shit.
And she's the quarterback. So, like, that alone, and let me go ahead and say this, she wears glasses. So, the chick's got brains, right?
Because she wears glasses?
And I'm compliment, bro.
I thought that's where you were going with it.
But
I was about to be like, all right.
She wears glasses, right? And she's got that stereotypical dorky, geeky look, but she plays quarterback, dog. And I'm like, what? No way. I want to find some fucking tape on this. I've got to find some tape. I mean, I'm impressed. I'm not downing her at all. I think it's fucking awesome. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, that just like, can you imagine being a football fan your whole life? I'm 5'10". You're shorter than me. You would have never fit the physical build to reach the league, right? So on those
facts.
On those pretenses, like the opportunity to take part in something that you dreamed of your whole life, even if it wasn't on the field, would you pass that up, bro?
I wouldn't.
Hell no, dude. So
no, and you know what, man? Like I was saying, even if you looked at it from an outside sports perspective, in a way, like I said, even if you're manager at a job or the head of the household, anything like that. I mean, bro, I guarantee, man, whether it was sports related or not, you would have walked away with quality insight, different outlook, a different perspective. Even as sports coaches, bro, like you were saying, looking at it at a different approach, a newer mindset.
I'm trying to see.
I wouldn't have passed. I mean, I wouldn't have passed it up to be straight up, but it would have definitely been.
Dude, I mean, look, they had obviously the coaching staff out there, and they actually had seminars where Todd Bowles, Jason Light, even Bruce Arians, and Buck Nation fam for life, Tony Dungy, came in and did a little seminar for him, and so did Rondé Barber. The group.
Okay, I had seen something about that.
Yeah. Well,
because that's what I had seen Rondé and Dungy on TV, and I didn't stop.
Well, honestly, I saw a report where Tony Dungy was in Tampa a few weeks ago doing something, and I'm like, okay, and I didn't think about it. That's probably when he was in Tampa doing that, that seminar. But one of the coaching.
That's what I said. I didn't stop and pay much attention, so that may have been it.
Yeah. One of the coaching staffs actually made a comment and said we were very impressed with all the coaches that took part in the inaugural Bucs Buccaneers National Coaching Academy, and we're excited to get these 5 back here to spend more time with us. It was actually Coach Bowles. And at the core of the academy, we wanted to provide pathways for coaches who are looking for an entry, who have passed college and living their life, but they wanted it. And obviously it's hard when you're look, we all know that 99, unless you're in the league or have a connection to the league, like a child, a sibling, or a father, or something like that.
Yeah.
That when you want to start something like this, 9 out of 10 times you're starting at Pee Wee, you're working at juniors, then JV, you're hitting the high school football team, and then you're getting a little, if you're not lucky, you're probably hitting a little JUCO college, and then maybe trying to get up in the toilet bowl supplier for the coaching staff just to be on a college staff. And you got to work your way up the hard way. This is an avenue that if you've got the capability and the skills, you can get it off the top, man. All you got to do is grind. All you got to do is everything in life. You put your nose down, tuck your chin in, keep your hands up, and move forward. And there won't be much that can stop you. So this whole concept, I really hope and pray that way more teams next year get involved in this and start doing this. Like, again, I mentioned that 4 of the finalists were Americans. Like, one of them was from Brazil, who lives in Brazil.
Why not? Why make it just a couple teams? Why not just make it league wide?
Yeah, I would love for them to make it league wide. I don't know,
make it a league wide thing, man. I mean, and I like where you're going at with it. You get some of these top coaches, in the area, high school, college, whatever, and it's just you give them that knowledge, man. You give back.
Yeah.
So hey, while we're on that topic, real quick,
yeah,
I'm looking at the Bucs page. They had done a whole little spiel. Today's question would be, what player would you steal from another NFC South roster?
When I saw that, I thought about bouncing a little bit off of that, but
Let's do it for a sec.
Of it. Now, my question would be, to bounce off of that, before you answer this, which player would you take off of a divisional foe, which is a position of need for your team, that would hurt the other team? And that made me back off, because I'm like, man, I got to think about that. What position do we really need to maybe help us get over the top? Or that, and at the same time, would fall deficient to the current team.
If I had, you know what, bro? If I had to pick one person, I'd say Bijan Robinson.
That's a really
we could use some help in the backfield. I'm not saying our backfield's horrible.
Hold on, we got some locker room material, y'all.
He's bringing up
locker room material. Bucky Irvin, pay attention to what he's saying. I want you to remember.
And Bucky Irvin could learn from the cat. They're both young, bro. They would be a phenomenal 1-2 punch if you had them both on roster.
I mean, I like my answer, but I like your answer a little bit more because of how shitty the Saints, I feel, are going to be this year. Taking Gordon off of their team really wouldn't hurt them.
But reading into the article, Scott Smith from Tampa Bay Buccaneers says Chris Lidstrom, guard from Atlanta, and then there's a Brianna Dix who had said that she would take linebacker Demario Davis from New Orleans.
Now that's a good one.
I like both of them, but we're not in need in both of those areas.
Davis is as old as David, so
that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not in need in both those areas to where both of those players help.
Right. So
I would rather Bijan. Bro, Bijan. My original thought is Alvin Kamara because of what the dude can do. But beating banged up Miles on it, injuries, all that other shit. Bijan Robinson is that cat in the NFC South that is going to give defensive nightmares.
Absolutely.
It don't matter who. Now, I wouldn't have Kyle Pitts. I like where you're going at with it, but he hasn't shown me really anything these days to make me go, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Kyle Pitts' first year really broke off, but I honestly think he's a great talent, but he didn't make adjustments like the other 31 teams did. They
Yeah.
adjusted
Now,
season 2.
today's question, and actually, no, it's tomorrow's question, and we'll just get into it because we're not going to, won't be doing a show. As a head coach, what headline would you like to read at the end of the preseason? And you can read this as a fan or as a coach when you answer.
Ooh, I want to think on that. Ask me again at the end of the show.
I'll tell you right now, one thing I would like to read as a fan is we parted ways with Kyle Trask. Because that would just make a lot, that would give that young man a chance. But
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
him on the keep him on the roster. We got him as a backup just in case. I'm all for it.
You know,
Now,
me
as a
personally,
coach,
I would honestly like to see the headline that Todd Bowles gets a contract extension. By saying that, this season went fucking great. Todd Bowles is going to have to take us to the championship game or the Super Bowl to probably end up continuing after his contract's up, his current contract's up.
yeah, I was gonna say if we don't make it to at least the NFC title game,
Yeah.
as a fan, I would like the storyline to read that we're gonna part ways. But with it being they're saying at the end of preseason.
Oh, the preseason. Oh, I thought you said end of season.
You know what?
At the end of season, at the end of preseason, Joe Tryon. I'd like to see that Joe Tryon's moved on.
Uh,
I don't think he is.
Hey, Daniel says all teams hurt, Bucs healthy. I was gonna say what I would love to read at the end of preseason is we're 100% healthy, no doubts, and we have a 53-man roster that top to bottom. I know it's cliche to say, but they 150% believe can compete if you put them in the Super Bowl in February.
I agree.
Not get blown out because they can't generate offense or they're waiting till the fourth quarter to wake up. But as a fan, I want that if you put that team in February, I want them to be able to compete. That's that would be what I would love to read at the end.
You know, I really like that. I really do. I also I like the fact that first and foremost, everybody has an opinion, right?
Absolutely.
And I really like that idea because, like, if you want to think the guy actually has talent, you go back to what was said about Trask coming out of college. Let's remind everybody: if Jameis Winston gets us a wild card season in his last season, there's a possibility we don't get Tom Brady. That being said, we signed Jameis. Now, just
Nah,
whatever, whatever happens,
yeah.
Kyle Trask had a better career in college than Jameis Winston. Take that in your head. The kid's talented.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna go at that,
why didn't it excel to the point? Look, Jameis Winston's career in college was fucking phenomenal. He was one of the greatest.
If we're gonna go with that though, Tim Tebow had a balling ass career in college.
Oh, hey Daniel, yes, thank you, Tommy boy. Thank you, Tommy. I love Tom Brady, what he did for. I was a Tom Brady fan before, But yeah, I'm thankful for Tom Brady. But check it out.
Look, I was a Brady fan when he came here, and that was it. I reined in that, hey, that's my GOAT, and I called it a day. I think he was a little whine ass for how we went about his final year. He should have just stayed retired.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The retirement stayed, but at the same time, we might have been in a better position to draft a quarterback. But if you go back 2 years ago, there really weren't great quarterbacks coming out of college. I mean, you had CJ, you had 2 or 3, and that was it. Look at the crowd, and we weren't going to get number 1.
Hey,
That wasn't finna happen.
I'm just gonna leave that right there for great college quarterbacks.
Bro, I read the article on Jamarcus Russell and then listened to a couple of sports radio shows on Xbox. I mean, not Xbox, but iHeart. And I listen to WDAE, in the mornings down there. And because ours up here goes to a local sports radio, and I'm more about the national because they only talk about Alabama and SEC and fuck that shit. So, yeah, I said that.
Bitch.
Did you cough there? You got something in your throat? So
no, my bad. I got just know there's enough national titles that ain't nothing caught in the throat.
Fair enough. I can accept that. Just know that Jamarcus Russell, they were talking about busts in the NFL, right? And when you talk about the NFL, they usually talk about how they are so talented and they got it all, but they end up going to pros and they fucking suck, right? They were talking about Jamarcus Russell being a fucking bust in life. Dude, I about died. I laughed so hard. Like, Jamarcus Russell has no luck. That is about the dumbest SOB to ever bring himself into the NFL. I mean, just like idiot. Daniel says, Boomer Sooner, baby. That's right. Let's go, Baker. Well, check it out. What we're also going to be talking about today. Talking about Boomer Sooner and fans and being close to them, the Bucs actually released their training camp schedule. My wife is actually really pissed. And the reason why, Crew Day is actually on her birthday. So she's not happy about that at all, bro. Let me tell you what, not happy about that at all. She's actually very annoyed with it. Now, for me, I personally love it. Let me go over the dates right here. They start by opening up on July 25th, okay? And it doesn't dictate on the schedule whether it's a night or day, so Buck Nation, just be on the lookout for that. When it comes out, I will share it on the Plunder, and I'm pretty sure we'll end up forwarding that to Pancakes and Power Bombs and everywhere else we can get a hold of it at, just so you guys can know. But the 25th of July is open to the public, okay? The 28th of July is open to the public. That's Junior Bucks Day. So keep that on your calendars if you've got kids who are fans or kids who are participating in football. That's the Junior Bucks Day. 29th of July is the crew member day. Okay? All right?
Mm-hmm.
The July 30th is a crew member day, right? August the 1st, ladies, pay attention. This is really huge. The Women of Red Day for the Bucs Training Camp is August the 1st. That will be, from my understanding, that's a strictly Women of Red training camp practice. If I'm not mistaken, they don't let anybody else in.
Yeah.
So that's a really big day for the ladies, and I love it. Look, dude, when I first started, it was awkward. And I'm not sexist, bro, but like when you're so used to seeing things a certain way, it still feels weird and looks weird, no matter whether it's right or not, right?
Uh-huh.
Go back 4, 5, 6, 8 years, and you see the first female on the sidelines, and they weren't wearing a polo because they were a part of the medical staff. It's like, whoa, okay, got to get used to this. Now these girls are literally, dude, I was watching a practice of, it wasn't on the Bucs, but I was rolling some reels. I was watching a female coach dig into a 340-pound lineman, bro. She's 5'8". I swear to Jesus, this was the craziest thing I ever seen.
Yeah, but see,
fulfillment to be like, you hear that old saying, like, women can do the same thing men can do and vice versa. Like, it doesn't take the sex of a person to accomplish something. It takes balls, guts, intestinal fortitude, and desire. And to see these women go out there in a man's world, it can change and it will change. It's in the process of changing right now. But in a man's world, to see a woman go out there and handle themselves like that and get respect, bro, they didn't give her respect. And in the NFL, these dudes don't give nobody respect. You got to earn it, because everybody in the NFL, whether they're a bench warmer or they're the MVP of the league and Patrick Mahomes, they earn that shit, man. You can't go out in life and coast through on the NFL field like you coast in life, at your job. It doesn't work. You have to give it everything. That's why you see most of these guys out here have been training since they were 10 and 12 years old, doing it their whole life. That's really cool. So big ups to the women, and I really am a pro for the Women of Red event. So I really love that. August the 2nd is open back up to the general public, as well as the 3rd. So you've got the 28th, 29th, the 30th, the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd. You have literally...
The 3rd's for crew members.
Yeah, the 3rd's for crew members. You literally have 6 of 7 days of practice that is open to the public. So there's no reason...
So, hang on, time out.
Go ahead.
You gotta make sure you're putting the correct information. When it says crew members, you have to be a crew member.
Well, yeah, you have
to be a season ticket holder.
That's why.
Now,
but I'm saying, like, you guys...
No, but hear me out, though. When you say it's open to the public...
Oh, well,
they got 2 days. Now, let me just... I wanna just get something off my chest on this part.
Do that.
As a crew member, I want to state, I think it is fucked up for the team post-pandemic to have select dates for certain people. I remember when we couldn't, bro, we barely had people at training camp in 2019.
Yeah.
Those were the ones I felt were really one of the diehards,
right.
The last of the diehards for us, because we went through hell in them years. But how is it now you got to be a crew member to join? I get it. I get the marketing ploy on it. But I do think that's kind of fucked up. Because what if... Okay, what if I wasn't a crew member? What if I didn't know the people that I know that are crew members? What if my girls came down from Alabama, man, and wanted to go? What if I couldn't get one of those 2 dates? Back in the day, all I had to do is sign. I mean, literally, bro, go on the app, get the ticket, download it.
Reserve your tickets, and you're good.
Yeah. Like, whatever happened to them days?
The whole world changed, bro. I mean, you think about, dude, as an example, I was looking at a post talking about the change in the world and things like that.
Well, but see, here's my thing, though.
Uh-huh.
You got an organization, and I'm going to use the Tampa Bay Lightning, for example.
Okay.
The things they do to give back to the fans that aren't just season ticket holders.
Right.
That is, to me, that's setting a standard. That sets the standard. It's not, oh, well, you can go only if you spend, the $1,300 to get a seat for the season.
Right.
What if I can't make it? What if I work Sundays, but hey, I'm trying to go support my team at training camp? Like, that's my problem with it. Open it back up to the public all the way around. I still support the Women in Red events. I still support the Military Day events.
Right.
The Junior Bucs events. Like, I'm all for, bro, if you want to close it to the public for those days. But you mean to tell me that the other days involved aren't already crew member days to begin with?
Right.
Like, come on. So, I mean, as a crew member, it's cool that we can do that it is open back up to us, but whatever happened to the days of being open literally to the public for the entirety of training camp? I think the team needs to go back to that. The Lightning do it.
Yeah.
The Rays do it. And they all of 4 fans go and see them during spring training. Why not have the Bucks go back to doing that? I just had, like I said, I just had to get that off my chest
No,
with all that.
I was curious as where you were going to go with that, and honestly, looking over the information and dissecting it just to give an argument back and make
Yeah,
there's 9 dates. Okay, the women of red, simply women of red. Okay,
yeah,
military day, I'm probably pretty sure it's probably just the military.
yeah.
All right,
That day would be open to crew members as well, but that's where they're gonna. And I've gone to the military day.
right.
All you gotta do is show some sort of proof when you walk through the gate with that ticket. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's it. Now the public has 1, 2. Public has 2 days.
Yeah,
So, if you're not a season ticket holder like me, you would only have 2 days to be able to go see them. I am not currently this season a season ticket holder. Yes, I know.
no. You know what, man? And I'm gonna make this quick argument.
That's me talking to me. I'm disappointed in myself.
No. I just want to make this quick argument on that. Just because of that, I seen the look in your face.
I'm disappointed, man. I can't make
No,
it.
no, you shouldn't be. And you know what, man? This goes for guys like Rudy Nunez in the chat,
Yeah,
like Daniel out there in Texas. This even goes for Buckaholics. It don't matter where you're at,
yeah,
what state, what chapter. Not every person can be a season ticket member, but y'all find a way to show support for your team. Do you make every game? Nah, man. And it's okay. I love when seeing people make the arguments of, oh, I've been a season ticket member since this time, or this time I haven't missed a game at this point, and
right.
that's cool, bro. I don't give a damn. I'm a season ticket member, and I sold 3 games last year. Actually, no, sold 2 games. Gave one away for a birthday gift.
Right.
And that one I wish I could have just sold. But doing something for a manager that didn't deserve the shit.
Those fake sweet gifts.
Yeah, fuck all that.
But look, what I was going to say is the public has 2 of the dates. The crew members have semantically 5. You have 5 opportunities. I mean, maybe 6 if the Junior Buck Day, a crew member can get in on the Junior Buck Day too.
Well, I mean, I'd like to believe that you at least got to have a parent with you for Junior Buck Day.
Yeah, crew members might even be able to get in, everyone except for Women of Red Day. I'm not sure exactly how they're doing it now. But at the same time, get out there, guys. People don't realize when an abundance of fans can get out there and show support when these guys are in shorts, sweating their nuts off trying to get it right, bro, they'll go out and die for you in the season. They'll go out and die for you because half of these players really say what they mean and mean what
Hey,
they
man, that ain't funny. We've had players actually die on the field.
Okay. Not too soon, so that was a good
Rest in peace, Corey Stringer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say we're not playing the DeMar Hamlin bullshit.
Popsicles when I went because it was so damn hot trying to keep everybody cool.
Hey, I will give the Bucks a shout out for that. I think they're the only organization giving out freeze pops in a 150-degree heat.
Bro, I was like, oh my god, that's a dub. When I saw them coming up passing out pops when I first started going, I was like, holy shit, because it was hot. It was hot.
Hey, you know what's crazy, man, is that's how I met Shawnee.
Really?
Yeah. I had gone with the girls to I think it was just a regular training camp in 2019.
Yeah.
But it was the one that my oldest got her Mike Evans jersey signed. It was signed by Mike Evans and Peyton Barber.
Okay.
But the whole point of it is I remember when they handed out freeze pops. I remember later on social media seeing Shawnee in the Bucks group talking about shout out for the freeze pops, and I'm like, wow, is that like a new thing or something? Because like I hadn't gotten to training camp in shit, bro. at least 10 years.
Right.
But it was cool. Like that was kind of dope. So
Well,
that
memory. It wasn't hard getting my kids into football. Obviously, my boys.
yeah,
My girls. Look, I got a 4-year-old. She just turned 4 on the first. Shout out, happy birthday, Taylor. Daddy loves you.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
No,
So
her, not you.
yeah, well, I'll thank her. I'll thank you for her. Um, so one of my favorite stories from I've got a couple of them, but probably my favorite is, all right, I'm gonna say the name Mike Evans. All right, Mike Evans is a class act, and I don't know any Buck fan that doesn't like him. I don't know many Buck fans that don't have him at the top of their list as favorite players. He might not be the one, but he's up there. I promise you. Well, 13 is my favorite number. So I'm a huge Mike Evans fan, and I also followed him because he and Jameis Winston were on the same path at the same time, and Texas A&M was them dogs. But let me tell you what, without Mike Evans, Texas A&M wouldn't win in half their game.
Bro, without Mike Evans, Johnny Manziel wouldn't have been Johnny Money. Wouldn't have been Johnny
He
Football.
never wouldn't. Johnny Manziel is Johnny Manziel because of Mike.
Listen,
That's
listen, man. Speaking of Mike Evans and Texas A&M, as an Alabama fan, that had outside of the, you know what, before the Iron Bowl, 101 yard or 107-yard field goal return. My first memory, bro, that I can really remember is Mike Evans and Manziel lighting up that secondary, bro. Like there was, I remember being at work, just couldn't even focus, man.
dude. That
Just
crowd.
because I'm just yelling at the TV the whole fucking time.
They were in Texas that game. I remember that game.
Yeah,
That was a crazy fucking game, bro. That crowd was nuts.
the crowd after that game was nuts.
Well, going back to the story, so they have and the first, this was the first one. I took my son to it, and this was the first training camp, my first season ticket year. Mike was
Okay.
out there. They were practicing, and they busted up everybody. Well, me being the guy that's not there for just the game, who's not there for just the on-field stuff, I know, just like when I went to a Limp Bizkit, I went to the Family Values Tour in 1998. I took a chick outside of the stadium. We saw the buses and stood there. Bro, Wes Borland, true story. Wes Borland come out, was seeing the fans by the gate, by the buses and everything. Thought the chick I was with was hot. She was just a date, right? She was like, hey, you want to go to the show with me tomorrow? Yeah. So I just asked her out in the bar the night before. I don't even know her name. I probably didn't even know her name still at this time. But knowing how close you get to these people when you do things like this is pretty impressive. This dude, Wes Borland, the bassist for Limp Bizkit, thought this chick was so hot, he invited her on the tour bus. All right. She said, hey, he's with me. Can he come? Sure. Now, before this, mind you, I'm being recorded by Pauly Shore, the Weasel. If you're old enough to know who Pauly Shore is, and if you're not, fucking look him up, guys. Insanely funny.
Yeah, you'll thank us later.
Oh my god, yes you will. Think of Jim Brewer before Jim Brewer. That's
Yeah,
what you get with Pauly Shore.
I think Jim. Actually, I think Pauly Shore is kind of like the fuck. What is the word I'm looking for? Anyway, continue. We'll figure it out later.
Okay. So, anyways, so I get back there, but that's because I took the opportunity to go over there. Works the same way as in football. So we go over and we're walking towards the end because, you know, everybody, when I say everybody, the players, we were outside. It wasn't inside. It was an outside practice. We were under a little pavilion and they were doing practice in front of us on the outside field. Well, when it left, everybody walked into the back of one Buck in the cafeteria to go back to the, you know, the clubhouse and change and everything, right?
Yeah.
And some of the players were dragging ass, chilling out, waiting around. Some of them kind of went over to the crowd and started melding. Well, I think Mike, this was like his third year in the league, maybe fourth year tops.
Okay.
So when I want to say it was Jameis's first or second year, I think it was his second year. So we went up there and Mike had stopped and talked to kids. And when I say Mike,
like he always does.
Yeah, he's a kid magnet and he loves kids. He loves doing that for the kids. And honestly, all those players should do kid first. I love it. That's bringing fans in and keeping them charged, because those babies will turn out like us and end up rabid ass fans because of like that. So I mean, that's why I turned out a fan like this, because I got taken to an Atlanta Falcon game when I was a young kid, and I got near a player after the game, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I just football became.
I mean, unless you're like us Bolts fans pissed off at the organization.
Look, we can have a conversation on that for sure, because I've got my own opinion on that, and it might not be savvy to a lot of Lightning fans. I don't necessarily call myself a fan of Lightning. I'm not a fan of hockey, but I follow the Lightning. And if there is anybody I root for that plays on ice, it's the Lightning. So, and that's by proxy of Tampa Bay. Although I can't say the same thing for the Rays, I do root for them, but at the same time, they're in different, but go Braves. I'm a Braves fan.
No, but hey, before we jump over though, Vernon made a comment, said that their NFC fans are crazy thinking that Carolina is about to take the South, or Atlanta, or New Orleans. So basically, what you're telling me, Vernon, is they're sleeping on us again.
I mean,
They're sleeping on us again.
I think they are. That's the way the national media is directing the storyline right now. That nobody believes we're going to be better than we were last year. And I think that's a big mistake because of what we've talked about numerous times on this show, pancakes and power bombs. Like consistency. If you do the same things over and over, when you go on the field and do those same things or need to do those things, your body's not thinking. So as long as you just you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to be in the spot where the ball's going to be, or you're going to throw that ball where the receiver's going to be, or you're going to make that block to get that receiver to your right because he's going to be there. So like that's a very integral part of success. And we go back to the New England Patriots. They changed a lot of players over the years, but at the same time, you never saw them dump their roster. Not one time. Not
like that.
No. You change a few pieces. Contracts run out. Sometimes you can't meet in the middle and you got to move on. And you got a next man up mentality. But at the same time, they had continuity for so many years. And that's going to be what, in my opinion, and I think we've discussed this, and also you feel the same way as well as maybe some other things, that's going to be one of the catalysts that the Buccaneers lean on to move forward and take that step ahead, is that consistency with bringing back 99% of our free agents, which was phenomenal. A lot of people
and they were still sleeping on us. But hey, Vernon brought up a good point too, bro. With them sleeping on us, we won the South again, and we didn't get better, we didn't get worse. I mean, actually, I do think we got better,
right,
in some aspects. We didn't get worse in any shape or form, and we're gonna fall off.
I mean, a lot of people are saying because of they feel we're going to be hindered a little bit because of the new system. But again, like if you did any research on the guy that we brought in compared to the guy that we sent out or that left, like they're like a 1A 1B mentality. It's not far off from. They're two completely similar systems. So it's not like we're jumping from a West Coast offense to a power run offense. It's not the same thing.
Well, and like Vernon's saying, Demario Davis being better than Levante David. We actually spoke on this a few minutes ago, Vernon. I know you just joined into the show. We reading on the Bucs app, they had made a question of If you were to take one player out of the NFC South, who would you pick? And a young lady, what is it, Brianna Dix?
Yeah,
Brianna Nix?
yeah.
She had said Demario Davis. Me and Derek both made the argument and agreed that Demario Davis is the same linebacker as Levante David with a little less speed, and they're the same age. Damn near.
Yeah.
So you're not getting an improvement if you were to replace
They've been the same thing.
Levante. Huh?
They've been the same player for years.
Yeah.
The same exact player. The same, like they have been top of the league as middle linebackers in statistics. Like like every year it pisses me off because I'm like, fuck, will this guy go away? Because he's always right there at the top of the league with Levante David.
Yeah.
So, I really like, I love, first off, Vernon, I love the fact that you follow us, and I love that you are constantly taking part in our show. And as far as I'm concerned, you're one of my favorite guys on here. I got another favorite guy now that we're live, and we're probably going to go live from here on out just because things worked out this way. It might work out that way for the future, but there's another guy who loves hats, who needs to show his face. It's been a long time. Just throwing that out there. You know who you are when you see the video. You'll know.
Oh, no. Said knows. Said knows.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
That's why we do the footage for the show, man. Because I'll start throwing the bucket hats back in there too. He ain't gonna know what to do.
So listen up. We got one more topic to talk about. Listen, we've had actually no. You know what? Let me go back to my story. I never finished my story.
Yeah.
So we're walking from the field, from the stands towards where the entrance is to the back of the kitchen. Where the guys. And Mike stops, and again, going back to there's tons of kids, and when Mike stops and hits those kids, like, bro, I think kids come from back around the damn building, like they were lying in wait for this guy to stop, because once he did, he's not turning kids down. There was about 60 freaking kids. Mike Evans talked and touched, took pictures, signed something for every single child. My kid was one of the last 15 kids, right? Bro, I didn't get him to shut up for a month.
You know what, man? Hey,
Vikings fan because of Dalvin Cook, right? And Jettis. He loves Jefferson and Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
He's also wearing Buccaneer now. He left. Like when they let Kirk Cousins go because he felt that Kirk Cousins was their best shot. But I tried to explain to him, you can't pay Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. Kirk Cousins wants and deserves a ton of money. Outside of the fact that he can't win in the playoffs, he's a fantastic quarterback in season.
You could even argue that if it wasn't for guys like Kirk Cousins, would Justin Jefferson be the guy? Would he have been able to showcase? Think of the quarterbacks that were available at the time when Cousins went to Minnesota.
Okay, we're talking. He was there 3 years or 4?
He's been in Minnesota for like 6 or 7 years.
Been that long, dude?
Yeah.
Because I know he was the first year I was a Bucs season ticket holder.
He's been in the league for
the Washington Commanders. He played for the Washington Commanders, and he beat us. That was the you like that game.
Yeah, that, and he was with them like what 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, he was drafted
and because he's in. Let me look.
Time and got his 5th year. They held on to his 5th year, and then he went to Minnesota. So I mean, 3-4 years. But to answer your question, I believe so. And the reason why I say that is you take Kirk Cousins, you put Kirk Cousins in there. Dalvin Cook played with him 1 season, I want to say, 1 full season.
Real quick. Okay. Kirk Cousins drafted 2012, played with Washington from 2012 to 2017, and then Minnesota from 2018 to 2023, and then now with Atlanta.
So 5 years he was with them. Okay. Well, I know he was on the fucking. He was what was he called? He was franchise tagged, what, 3 seasons straight? They signed him to a 2-year deal and they franchised him the last 3 years, didn't they?
Yeah, and here's my argument though. Would Justin Jefferson be that guy with any quarterback during that time? And I mean, think 2018.
Let's just talk about the 3 years he was on the franchise tag, okay? Because you're talking top money pay for 1 year.
Right? No, I'm not talking. Just 1 second though. Justin Jefferson wouldn't. I personally don't think throw in. You know what, bro? We'll go hypothetical.
Okay.
During that time frame, what 2018? Shit, bro. What if Atlanta would have had Matt Ryan go over there? Oh shit. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Vernon.
I was just about to say Vernon chimed in with a good one. Case Keenum.
Thank you. Okay, so hold up. This is good. This is where I want to go with it. Thank you, Vernon. Case Keenum, had they retained him, kept him at the time, drafting Jefferson still with Case Keenum on the roster.
Right.
Would Justin Jefferson be that type of dude still? Would he be that top 3, top 5 receiver? I don't think he has the seasons that he has had. I don't think he would have the production with Case Keenum that he had with Kirk Cousins.
Well, let me ask you this: talking about Justin Jefferson, just real quick, not to put too much time on him, but to give the argument context. Who else is in Minnesota to provide that caliber of offense outside of Dalvin Cook? Because again, earlier on in Jefferson's career, he played with them, and Dalvin Cook, he started getting and leaving. And they've got a couple of decent wide receivers in that wide receiver room over there in Minnesota.
Yeah.
But they didn't have. I mean, they had what, Madison as a
running. See, Vernon brings up the other point, and here's where I was trying to go with it as well. If you would have traded Stephon Diggs and still drafted Justin Jefferson, bro, Minnesota would have been more of a threat. Then you could have had. Then you would have been able to. Then you would have been able to hide Case Keenum's inconsistencies, and he would have been able to get showcased as a Brock Purdy.
Hot take: Stephon Diggs is overrated.
I agree, but I disagree.
I think he's only as good as the people around him can make him.
Look, the dude's quick. The dude's good,
and he's got hella hands. He's got hella hands.
He does, but he's injury plagued.
Absolutely.
That is my issue. That is like me telling you. Oh yeah, and he was hot in Minnesota. Hey, New Orleans fans will forever have Stephon Diggs etched in their fucking minds. They will forever remember Stephon Diggs.
The fact that you brought this up and now it brought its back way to fucking New Orleans Saints misery, it's perfect for this fucking show. Great fucking way to build that into the show, bro.
Hey, you want to see it? Hey, and who was the cornerback on that one? You want to see a dead body?
Who's that? Oh.
But again,
honestly, I mean, that's a really tough argument to discredit. But at the same time, I believe he is, because now, would he have been better? Would they have been better? Fuck yeah. But I believe he would have been better just because they don't have shit, ain't had shit. And in Minnesota, without Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, they ain't even challenging for a divisional title at all. In the last few years, they haven't been like in the mix at the end, but they've competed all season, and they hadn't been overachievers, but they've competed all season. They were the team like the Bucs for a few seasons. Like, if they changed like 2 things a game, they'd probably win 4 more games.
You know what, man? If with Kirk Cousins being in Atlanta, if they can get right, bro, if they can get chemistry right off rip, they could be scary. They
And
could
look,
be the dark horse.
I've also noticed that I appreciate Lattimore bringing in the name, but at the same time, I like the fact that you're a grammar Nazi and you had to correct him. It's not pronounced Lattimore.
And Laddie ho,
Lattimore.
and Laddie ho.
All right, guys, that was a fun topic. I really like that topic, and it brings for like different things, and that's something that we're gonna do on this show. Like we're gonna take a topic and we're gonna prepare for this to the point to where we're gonna bring it like almost like First Take. If you've ever watched First Take, where we're gonna have debates. We're gonna bring up a big topic for the Buccaneers, and we're both gonna take a side, and we're gonna work that side, and we're gonna figure out by the end of that debate and then into that argument what's really going on here. And I think that's going to add another element to this show, and I think the fans will like that. But to move on, because we've already hit an hour on the show, which is good because 3 topics lasting an hour is really good. But the last topic is really cool to me. I want to bring up a guy who we have murdered time and time and time and time again because of his play. Now, let me tell you, people, when you watch a guy yes, Kirk Cousins is 1-3 against the Bucs, and that one is you like that game, and it still haunts me. It was the first fucking Buccaneer first regular season game I ever went to as a season ticket. I was hurt. I was hurt.
You gave up your tickets after that, didn't you?
Oh, dude. I contemplated life after that game. But Luke Goedeke, he's a special character, and I picked him because of the position he's in now to look into as a Bucs fan. And coincidentally, when I thought about him, 2 days later, I saw an interview
Okay.
on the Buccaneers website with Casey Phillips. And I put it off, and that solidified my thought on who I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, done. It's Luke Goedeke. So I went on there, and I've done my research, minutely on the guy coming out of college, but I really went inside his history to see what this guy was about. Now, I can't tell you how many times we killed this guy last year because of his play, because his expectation when he came into the league was so much higher, of him being so much better, so much sooner. Now,
Now, why would you murder the guy like that?
Because you sucked on the field. That being said, let's bring some context in and give him some credit, because the guy
buried the guy.
The guy got buried, but he deserves his flowers. And I say that to say this, and you'll find out when you go do your own research, because you actually mentioned that you hadn't seen the interview and you're not. So check this out. First off, the guy had no scholarship offer. First off, for you to have no scholarship offer and make it to the pros and be drafted, that's impressive.
Now, you say that, I'm going to say this. Knowing what you just told me, I am hoping there's an improvement this year.
Oh, there will be. And I say that to say this.
Well, I was going to say, I'm going to be optimistic because he's still young.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But here's the kicker. All right. Now, check this timeline out, guys. This is a funny timeline when you're talking about Luke Goedeke and what he's been through, what we've communicated, what we all know up to this point, without doing research, just the information that we've discussed. If you know any of that information, you're on the same page as us and as me before I really did my research on the guy. But let me say this. The guy had no scholarship. All right. His very first, let me bring it up. His very first college, this was the kicker. UW-Stevens Point. Okay? It's a community college. I can't remember what his major was, but he says, oh, they have a football team, so I'm going to go try out. He was a tight end. Okay? Not a shocker, but
I was going to say, I've seen the dude. He's decently tall.
He's tall. He's quick. Now, and he gained 80 pounds, 70 to 80 pounds up to this point,
okay,
as a tight end in college. So in 2017, he played tight end in college. He got some game tape. He said, man, I just wanted to build some film. That's the only reason I joined the team, because his goal as a kid was to make it to the NFL. He actually questioned this when he didn't get no scholarships coming out of high school. So he went into he's actually from Valders, Wisconsin. And let me say this. Casey Phillips tried to say it. I'm going to try it too. If there's any people from Wisconsin out there, Wisconsin, is that what it was? Wisconsin. But he laughed at her and said it was a horrible attempt at his accent. But he's from Valders, Wisconsin. He went to UW Stevens Point in 2017. Got him some game tape, right? Because game tape, as we know, is like a resume with references that you can bank on. You know, that's something you give to somebody where they can see it and say, okay, you can do something here with us. I don't know what it is, but you can do something. Come on. So he sends it, and he gets a shot at Central Michigan. Okay. Central Michigan drafted him. Where'd they move him? Right tackle. They were in need of a tackle. He's a big guy. Just had to put on some. A tackle blocks half the time. Actually, a tackle probably blocks more than half the time. You know, depends on your scheme. But the tackle, and in college, there's a lot of running. So the tackle or the tight end, excuse me, I'm saying tackle. The tight end blocks a lot.
Yeah.
So it's not like he wasn't even familiar with blocking. So he got moved, and I'm not sure what he played in high school. It didn't say. But I'm assuming tight end because of his frame and his skill and his ability moving forward from the high school level to the pros. I'm thinking it was tight end. I didn't know that. So moving forward to Western Michigan, they move him to tackle. That was his original line spot, right? And from what he said, I want to say, no, I take what I just said back. I guarantee you he played line in high school, and this is the reason why. He goes to Central Michigan, right? And he was drafted in the second round as an offensive lineman. Ladies and gentlemen, he's got skills. If you're an offensive lineman and get drafted in the first 3 rounds, you've got skill. I don't care what you say. You're not just a camp body. You're somebody that they expect to keep on the squad and put in the game eventually. You know, so that was pretty impressive. Now, granted, it was at the late end of the season or of the draft of the second round. I think pick 57 or no 57. Excuse me, pick 57 in the second round. This guy was instantly brought to the Buccaneers, and as you know, from Buccaneer to day one, he was thrown into the fire. Every new offensive or young offensive lineman in the last 3 years have been thrown into the fucking fire on the Buccaneers roster. We have had a shit show on our offensive line for a couple of years and struggled really well to maintain that sustainability. And in my opinion, all due to Jensen being gone. Jensen's on the field. We don't have any of those problems.
Yeah, our centerpiece was missing.
Look, I'm not taking a shot at Robert Hainsey either by saying that. Robert Hainsey is not.
He wasn't, bro. He wasn't center material for us.
Center. He's a guard.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. He wasn't center for us, man. And
take that into consideration, dude. He said, like, you know, growing up, he did the Wisconsin thing, you know, and think about it. Offensive lineman, you think about Wisconsin, Iowa, you know, these big cornbread fed boys, you know, just where they teams, you know, these Big Ten teams really run the ball all the time. They usually get a lot of the best offensive linemen in the country.
I mean, where's Tristan? Where Tristan Wirfs play college football?
He was a Hawkeye. So,
I'm just gonna leave that right there.
That right fucking there. But look, to go on to bring up something specific about Lou Goedeke, where the mindset started changing for me in doing my research, and it really put it into perspective hearing it, because I know it just like you know it. Think about human behavior, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm 20 years old. I'm 44. So semantically, I've been doing a lot of the things I'm doing for 20 plus years. Now, scientifically, it takes 17 to 21 days to create a habit. Okay?
Yep.
And I learned this. I got in some trouble when I was a kid, but a guy told me one time, he says, you want me to teach you how to create a habit? I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. He said, can you do something for me? We try, just give me 3 weeks. I'm like, 3 weeks. He said, you only got to do something. It takes like 30 seconds a day to do it for 3 weeks. I'm like, what?
Yep.
He said, pay attention for the
it takes 30 seconds it takes 30 seconds to do anything. It takes 3 days to make it consistency.
Yep.
It takes 7 days to form a habit, and it takes, like you said, between 17 to at least 30 days at max to continuously doing it to
cement it. Yeah. So that being said, what he said is pay attention to what leg you put in your pants leg in every morning. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, just trust me. So I go do it. Every day, bro, I put my right foot in my pants leg first. Didn't think about it because I honestly forgot about it a couple of days. I had my bunkie at the time. I'm like, help me remember this, because you get up when you're incarcerated. You get up at the same time when that light pops on to get ready for chow. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So in the military, it's the same way. So
I've been on both sides.
So I put my right pants leg in there. So I go back to my buddy and I'm like, hey, this is what happened. So what am I supposed to be doing here? He said, now, the next 21 days, you're going to use your left leg first. To this day, I still rotate feet in my pants. I created a habit. Now, that being said, I say that to say this. Goedeke was on the right side. He's also a right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
In high school, he played right tackle. He played tight end. I know he played tight end in high school. And he could have been a tackle too, right? Now, you're not blocking the same way. You're not moving the same way, and you're not doing things the same way on the right side of the center as opposed to the left side of the center. Guaranteed you. If you ever played football, you know what I'm talking about. So what his problem was, his learning curve moved from right tackle his rookie year over to left guard and continuously through last season to left guard. He's also been shut in the right guard position a time or two, but mostly at left guard. He literally had to train his body to move in a different fucking direction than it was born to do his whole life. Now, think about that. Let that sink in. Look at the problems he had. Look at the issues that we had on offensive line on that side.
Yeah.
And think about that. Now think about this. You're moving back to right tackle season 3. What do you think's going to happen? I believe the kid's going to fall right in line. And the reason why I say that is now this is going to the interview to learn about Luke. He's a regular dude. He comes from Wisconsin, comes down to Tampa. I mean, I can't say it's much different than Central Michigan being in Wisconsin, so it's not a big change of scenery. You come down to Tampa, it's a culture shock, bro. If you've ever been to Wisconsin and you've been to Coastal City, you know the differences. Holy crap.
Yeah.
And he loves fishing, so obviously that's a Luke Goedeke check in my book. But Casey asked him at one point, what's your story? So he goes on to explain to Casey the history that he'd been through, and he said one of the hardest things he's ever had to do, going back to what I just said, was train his body to move in a different direction and function in a different way than it had meant to. So on the right-hand side, you're typically you lead left, like if you've got to draw to the left or a zone to the left, right? On the right side, you're still moving left. It's not like you only move in one direction, but the way you block is different, because if you're on the right-hand side, blocking for a left side zone run on the outside, then there's a 80% likelihood the guy in front of you and the guy to the left of him ain't even going to fucking be in the play when it's over.
Yeah.
So the level of intensity, the level of concern as a player, trying to protect and defend a certain thing going on in my backfield, the mindset changes just a touch. right?
Mm-hmm.
You're on this side, you know it's coming your way, right? So when you move this guy over to this left side, he's now got to change that to move in a different way. Because now on the left side, he's got to go with force. He's got to go with power, and he's got to go smash those motherfuckers in the face, right? And that was a hard thing for him to do. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Cornerback's probably the most intelligent person on the field. Maybe sometimes. And if we didn't have Tom Brady, I'd have to say this, because if Tom Brady didn't come on the team, the smartest player on our team for 4 years was Ryan Jensen. Because in my opinion, the offensive line, i.e. typically the center and interior line, are some of your most intelligent players on the field. Because of the blocking and the way you have to not only identify the 4 or 5 people in front of you, you got to account for the 3 or 4 people behind that in the next level. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Vernon says it's like being left-handed and having to use your right hand to do everything. And as a left-handed person who's broken their left hand before and had to go to school to write, I was told, write with your right hand unless you got a doctor's note that says you can't do schoolwork for handwriting. So I had to kind of learn. And I'm
you know,
so glad that I am so glad I'm all right now.
I'm not so ambidextrous. With my finger, believe it or not, even with this finger, just the knuckle. Like, when you talk about grabbing and gripping things, like,
Mhm.
you can bend it now a little bit better. That's almost completely closed. It's not quite extended out. It's still. Hey, my wife, I kill my wife. I'll be like, I'll point at her like this, and she'll say, "What?" And I'll be like, I'll go over to the side and cock my hand a little bit so it'll actually point the finger straight at her, and she dies laughing. But no, going back to Luke. So, hearing all that, hearing his story, how he didn't have a high scholarship coming out of college, he walked on to, again, it was Central Michigan, but it's a Division I school. Let's be straight. Central Michigan is a Division I school. So he went to a Division I school, played. He ended up moving, I'm assuming, back to his natural position, which is right tackle. He has great seasons at Central Michigan. In order for them to do that, you have to think he had great seasons. Even if I don't look at the stats, he was drafted in the 2nd round at pick 57. So he's really talented, and his upside could be higher than his talent at that point. But it's still, gives credit to the guy. Give the guy his flowers. He comes to the NFL, and then one of the best linemen in the history of the freaking game, in Ryan Jensen. He has a season with him. No. Does he have a season with Jensen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No.
If he's in his 3rd year, he got training camp. He got training camp with him, and then Jensen got hurt.
Jensen got hurt in training camp the year he got drafted. You're right. So, like, he come into turmoil. And for the team to move him from interior after the struggles he had back outside, and look, let's be clear, the team didn't second guess. They didn't waver. There wasn't a cloud over this decision. It was, hey, Goedeke's moving back to the other side this season. We're going to put him back where he belongs. Like, they knew what the problem was. He knew what the problem was. But at the time, the Buccaneers needed more interior help. That says a lot to the guy's abilities. They took him from the outside to move him to the left. He ain't never played left guard. Like, put all of these things into perspective. And that was some of the things that I personally didn't do last year when we were nailing this guy to the cross. So you move forward, and the guy says, what do you want when you look at this all said and done? When you look back, what do you want to see? He said, what do you want people in Tampa? She said, what do you want people in Tampa to feel and think about you? He said, man, I'm just trying to be a man of the people and help the Buccaneers win a Super Bowl. The guy is down to earth. He's had a good family. His family's involved in his life. He's a young kid who's got a high ceiling. The Buccaneers believe in him. He's come in and he was moved over here to help the team. In the end, you got to say he helped the team because the offense improved the last 8 weeks of the season last year, week in and week out. Every week they got better and better. We started a little too late, but we ended up getting better. That's the point. So moving into this season, I want to say we go back to a conversation we had, I think last week or even the first week, about the expectations of the biggest jump on offense and defense, and Cody Mock's name was brought up, right?
Mm-hmm.
he's not a rookie, but let me add Luke Goedeke into that because I believe Luke Goedeke is going to show up, if not the same level, a very close level of play on the outside as Tristan Wirfs. Now, is he Tristan Wirfs? No. I don't think he is. I think Tristan Wirfs is a generational tackle. I think he's a guy who should end up retiring as a Buccaneer. Because of the value of left tackle, I don't think he will. The Bucs are end up going to having to pay somebody else somewhere else eventually, and I don't think, because unless this guy wavers, in his skill a little bit or his ability a little bit, Tristan Wirfs is that motherfucker. So going back to Luke Goedeke, I would say if you put Tristan Wirfs at a 10, I expect Luke Goedeke to be a 7.5 to 8. As far as quality of play, I believe he's going to take a leap, a giant leap as far as production for his position.
You know what? You telling me that gives me hope. And I'll say this: knowing he played at like a 3 or 4 last year,
Yeah,
I'd be happy with that. I don't expect a 10, and I'd be alright with that. Like I
yeah,
said, I hope he does improve this year. I hope his play improves because after that, I mean, if he can't figure it out this year, then I'm going to start, having the tone of maybe he is a backup.
yeah.
Maybe we don't need him.
Right.
Maybe we should look elsewhere.
Yep. I actually like the guy. And again, I told you before the show, I wasn't a fan of his. I wasn't not a fan of his. I wanted to see something more. But after watching all that and to see all that, I gotta say I'm a fan of that kid, and I'm rooting for him now because I love a comeback story. I love an underdog story. And you look at a guy, he's not necessarily an underdog, but if you think about it, coming out of high school, he didn't have a scholarship, and he walked on, and he got drafted in the second round. That's a fucking underdog story. That's a comeback story. That's awesome. So it really got my interest peaked, and then I went a little further and got into it, and I was like, wow, I really like this guy. Real quick, Vernon says, to be honest, I'm sorry, but I believe they let Vita Vea walk and sign the LT to a huge deal. Ouch. If that happens, Vernon, let me say this. Kalijah Cansey better come close to winning MVP.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of interior presence I want to see if we're letting Vita Vea walk. No offense. I don't care.
No. Even with Kansas, I do believe Vita and Kansas side by side are going to be insane. If we had to let Vita go, it would suck.
And then you're also throwing Yaya on the outside as well as maybe Chris Robinson. Maybe he blossoms in his first or second year and comes out and becomes a starter, moving forward. But to be honest with you, there's so many questions that can be answered in multiple ways that we have pertaining to our team this year going into the preseason. That and I say questions like you shouldn't be concerned like about our season. But when we're talking about paying attention to every single detail, there's still a lot of questions unanswered. Who's going to step in number 2 at cornerback? We're going to talk about that next week. That's going to be a hot topic next week. The cornerback room. Next week, I'll tell you what. On the Plunder, I'm going to make a post. I'm going to share it in all the groups. I need a player that you guys want to know about. I'll make the post tonight. We'll get Buck Dad to share it as well as me.
Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving is him. What we're going to do is highlight one player a week. Offense or defense, it don't matter. I'll take suggestions. I don't have to do it on my own. If there's a guy out there that you want to know about and you're not sure about, and you might be the only one, make a post on it or make a comment on it. Send me a DM. Let me know. If it sends that bing in my head, that, hey, I'm jumping on it and I'm going to do it for you. And I have no problem. And eventually, by the end of the season, everybody that watches this show, even if you are like what we talked about earlier, somebody in Seattle, Washington who's a Bucs fan, and you ain't been to the game and you ain't never been close, but Yeah, yeah. What are you laughing at? I gotta know.
You said Bing and my dog went rough.
Oh,
Oh, never mind. There's fireworks going on outside.
oh, that's why he
It
roughed up.
must have happened at the same time because you had said you had done that, and she goes woof.
Look, talking about the secondary next week. The secondary is going to be lit, Vernon says, this coming year with Whitehead and Winfield being at the back end. Let me tell you
Yes,
something.
sir.
You just became a Buccaneer fan in the last 2 to 3 years, and you don't know who Jordan Whitehead is. With the quality of play that Antoine Winfield is going to bring that secondary, Jordan Whitehead could very well win MVP his damn self because of this. Like, that is going to be a disgusting back end of a secondary that I don't think any quarterback or receivers want to face this year. Not to mention the run game, because both of those guys will put heads and hats in your belly.
Yeah.
So look out, look out, look out. I'm trying to tell you, we're gonna look out. We're gonna look out. We're gonna go with the cornerback room next week, okay? And we'll run the post until, let's say, Saturday. We'll run the post until Saturday to see who gets it. And what I'm gonna do is I'll collect all the names from all the different posts, and I'll add it up. Whoever gets the most names, whoever's names pop the most times, that's who we'll do. Chris Braswell. Yeah, I was just about to correct him. Thank you for that.
I just wanted to make sure I was
I
thinking
had
the same guy.
Brule on our team.
No, yeah, I just got. It was one of those like, wait, do we? I figure we signed because I've been following the power bomb side of everything. So I
Right.
kind of thought I missed something. So I was gonna write that down and go, hey man, get into that.
Look, I
Chris
actually
Braswell's a good one too. So
who?
I'm keeping track. So far we got Chris Braswell. We'll do Bucky Irving. Do Jalen McMillan.
There's a lot of players. There's a lot of players on this team that could really make a huge impact. Just in their solo play. You know, just in their stats, their stat line, from the offense and the defense. You're talking Cade Otton. Dude, Cade Otton made a huge leap last year. Do we expect the
Yeah.
same out of him? And if that's the case, if Cade Otton makes a huge leap, we're in trouble, people. Because you're talking about having to sign a top tier tight end, having two
I
top
mean, I think Kate Otten. Look, no,
if he steps it up this year, he's going to be in the top half of the league as far as production as tight ends go.
I think he's already got the opportunity too if we use tight ends more often.
I agree. He's got hands. He can catch. He can block. He can run routes. He's not a freaking slug. So he's very decent on the routes. He's not the blocker you want on the end, but also that's where your second and third tight end come in. Or maybe your substitute second string tackle substituted in for a tight end. So there's so many questions on the field as far as personal achievement and growth go to where it pertains to them impacting the Buccaneers is cool. But what I want to also make sure you guys understand is when we're doing this, I'm going to find out where they live. I'm going to find out what they like, what kind of people they are. So keep that in mind when you comment on the post, and be looking out for the post about the fantasy football league. Guys, I appreciate it. It's been a great show. It's actually went a little longer than I wanted to. We had a lot of conversation. We ended up divulging a lot of information. I want to thank you once again, Buck Dad. Without you, I don't know how much of this show would be possible. So big ups to you, man. It is
Absolutely.
Tuesday. Go enjoy your family. Enjoy Hump Day tomorrow. Get ready for Friday night on Pancakes and Power Bombs, because let me tell you what, it's gonna be a banger.
Time out. Since you brought up Friday, I'm gonna throw that up on the screen real quick. Friday night, man, tune in to Pancakes and Power Bombs. We're doing something special. It's election time. It's election season, and we ain't gonna get in all the bullshit. We're leaving all of it to the side. We don't give a fuck what side you fall on.
Thank you, Vernon.
But we're going to have a presidential smackdown, a little bit of fantasy booking. We're going to take the presidential nominees, and we're going to be joined with Trevor, Garmin, and as well as JTV's Kevin Impact. And we're going to be doing some fantasy booking on how we think this presidential election is going to go down this year, man. So tune into that one.
Hey, and let me throw a shout out. I'm a wrestling fan. And if there's any Buck fans out there that are wrestling fans, follow us obviously on Pancakes and Power Bombs. But Kevin Impact, okay, I met him a few weeks ago. A few weeks before that, I heard conversations about him. We had conversations about him.
Yes, sir.
Go look him up. I knew eventually it'd be thrown in my face and I wouldn't have no choice but to see it. But if you're a wrestling fan and you're a fan of good content and fun content, go follow JTV Wrestling. These guys use the WWE game to put on a legit wrestling show. Commentary, scripts, and everything. So big shout out to Kevin Impact. I appreciate you showing up on Pancakes and Power Bombs. I appreciate Buck Dad once again. I appreciate my wife for dealing with my kids while I sit here for 2 hours and do this. Until next time, this is Derek Manning Buck Stevens. We out, baby.
Yes, sir.
What up, bitch?